Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this late evening? I'm here once again, waiting for my son to get off work. I hope everybody's having a great evening. Let me send a couple of invites to see who's up late at night tonight that might want to join this late night talk with Ape CS. Like I said, I'm waiting for my son, so I'm just making a quick live video here for the group. I wanted to make one earlier off of the house. There's so many things that have been happening. There's been a death of a friend that was military. I knew him from Elms Grove. Last time I seen him, I went to go help him, and he was real sick. And he passed away today. He was 59 years old. He lived in Elms Grove longer than I lived there. And I'm thinking, he was a veteran also. He was in the reserves, so he's always going in and out from the States to wherever there was war and stuff like that. Being a reservist, he was always getting deployed. But he passed away today, sadly. May he rest in peace. His nickname was Zorro. He got very ill. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, that's the way that we get spiritually attacked, is through our health. That's why it's very important to maintain a love foundation and stay active. I know I'm not a spring chicken. How you doing, brother Kenneth Roper? How you doing, buddy? Then sadly, there was another thing within the family on my wife's side. One of my stepson's cousin, he passed away. In a bad way, I guess. He was on a bad road, and you could say somebody gave him something that he was supposed to take, and he's not here no more. And that's how he passed away on the same day that my friend Zorro passed away. When I say spiritually, brothers and sisters, I call everybody brother and sisters because that's how we are. We all have a spirit that keeps us going in this world. That's why I call everybody brothers and sisters, and everybody's got their own mission, their own purpose in life. I'm just here to say, brothers and sisters, that I haven't gone back to the woods since last time. When I got surrounded spiritually by so many, it felt like I literally had something on my shoulders. Like for about a whole week, it felt very heavy. I could barely walk, and it felt like something was attached to me. Something attached itself to me, and I was carrying it on my shoulders. So for about a whole week, my whole back was hurting. I could barely walk. I barely got to even work out when I went out there to the woods. But that's what it felt like. Before I had left, I had felt a lot of energy around me coming towards me, and it wasn't good energy. I could sense that it was something not good. So I started praying automatically, the Our Father, and I started saying that whatever is there could not follow me. So I haven't made a video since all the footage that I've been putting out. That's from the same old video of when I went there last time. Spiritually, I can see things also when I make contact. How you doing, Sister Veronica? When I make contact with this unseen spiritual beings, whether you want to call them disembodied, or you want to call them demonic, they're around. They're around, and when you make energy contact, like me, I can sense things through energy. I can see what their mission is. You see how I'm wearing this black tourmaline, and sometimes I wear other things like smoky quartz, citrine, and other bracelets around me. Well, we can wear a lot of things around us, right? I can wear all kinds of protection around me, but it's what's within us. They show me something. I've seen something, and what I was shown was this. I think it showed me something from the past, something that happened a long time ago, and I'm thinking it has to do with the pharaohs. You know how they mummified the pharaohs and stuff like that. Well, they were showing me how they literally destroyed a lot of these people that were into sorcery, necromancy, or whatever they were involved in. They showed me how they got destroyed by them. How they had all this gold and amulets around them and pendants, but they still managed to destroy them because it was what's within the heart, right? How I always talk about always maintaining the love foundation. Well, that's basically what it was. That a lot of these beings got used as vessels. They literally possessed a lot of these individuals and used them to destroy others. That's what I was shown spiritually. And like I said, I don't want to believe into too much of what is shown to me. The only thing I can do is watch my cues and watch for myself, right? Not to overstep my boundaries spiritually. So that's why I haven't gone back. As y'all noticed in the footage that I placed, you could see them manifesting even more now, where you could actually see the teeth, the eyes blinking. I don't want to give them the power, right? I don't want to give anything that's demonic, what you want to call it, disembodied Nephilim, from another dimension, elementals. I don't want to give them no power in any sort of kind of way that they're going to try to get stronger because I'm going to their environment, and I don't want that. That's why I haven't gone back to that area. I was tempted to go this morning, but I chose not to. So for right now, I'm just going with my instincts. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, every time that I've gone using my energy to sense, it hasn't been good for me, where I get sick for about a week. I can understand maybe when you have a negative attachment in your household and it's one thing that you're dealing with, but when you go out there and it's not one but many that are coming at you, well, they're trying to, how should I say, drain your energy, and they're coming at you from all directions. So that's what I have been noticing, and I wish that there would be some volunteers or somebody that want to show me when I go out there and do these recordings that I do, so y'all can witness it for yourself of the noises that are being around me, that you can hear for yourself, and you can hear where somebody's saying something in a different language. Somebody could come with a EVP and record that kind of stuff, but that's the kind of activity I get, but it's not only here in Central Texas. There's something that's been with me all my life. So I've dealt with this all throughout my life, where when things would happen to me when I was younger, I could say something to somebody about what's going on, but they're not going to believe me because, I have no proof or no evidence. And the first thing that somebody would say, when you say that you experience something, they're going to say you're crazy. Or they're going to say it's just your imagination. They're going to say it's a hallucination. They're going to say it's mass hallucination effect. But now with the technology that we have, we're able to capture these beings with our cameras, through footage of like this, But that's the message that I wanted to send to y'all, brothers and sisters, is like I said, I can wear all kinds of protection, but if I still have an opening within myself, then I have to, whatever opening I might have, I have to either forgive or ask for forgiveness or change the pattern or the path that I'm in order for me to protect that opening and close that opening, or tie, bind, and rebuke any openings of that nature. I'm telling you, this unseen spiritual war is very real. And like I said before, I know that I'm always trying to get the message out there to everybody who's willing to listen spiritually. I was talking to a gentleman earlier, and he was telling me how him and his team go out there and explore, and they're trying to find these cryptids, and that they take weapons with them, that they ran into. We're talking about the other things that are more dangerous, that are dangerous still to live in this world, like the animals that are out there that you might encounter. Like he said, he ran into a bear. Luckily, he had his weapon, and he killed the bear. And he said he's a bear hunter. I've run into wildcats, or should I say wildcats, cougars, where the two wildcats that chased me down, because across the path as I was just walking, exercising, and I didn't have no weapon. The only thing I had was a walking stick, and he kept on coming at me, and he was moving real fast. For a wildcat, he was like charging at me. So the only thing I could do is back up against this building where there was a light. So I put my back against by the glass door of the entrance of the building. It was an embarked building, and there was somebody working there, and I was banging on the door to see if they would open it. But the wildcat, it went a separate way. It stopped charging at me. I was lucky that the building was there, because I believe if the building wasn't there with a light on, that it would have literally charged at me, because that's nighttime is they're hunting. That's when they go hunting at nighttime. But luckily nothing happened. We're talking about how there's those other creatures that are out there that are real animals that can cause us harm, that when we go out there searching, that we don't know what we're going to run to. You say he always carries a weapon. I was telling him how I used to carry stuff before with me. I used to carry machetes just in case, but at the same time, some of those animals, if you pull out a weapon on them, they're going to still try to charge at you and stuff like that. And of what I faced, spiritually, we can have all kinds of weaponry, but that's not going to help us fight spiritually. Because those unseen forces, like I said before, they go for spiritual openings, and that's how they attack. When people say that they're knocking, look, there was one time I was walking. I was doing my regular walk at evening when I used to go walking at nighttime. And I was walking my regular path down the street about near the airport in Killeen, Texas, where I used to live in Elms Grove. And I was tired from the night before, because I had to walk like 10 miles around the quad there. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go relax. I think I've walked enough for the week. So as I turned back and I started walking, I ran into a formation in the middle of the street, which was a rock formation that was in the form of a circle. It was like a lot of rocks in a circle in the middle of the street. And I'm like, there's no way that somebody could have placed this many rocks and me not know about it, So the first thing I thought, it was somebody messing with me. And so when I got to the area where the rock formation was, I didn't go to the middle of the rock formation. I went around it, and I was yelling towards the trees and the bushes over there. If there's anybody there to come out of the woods, why are they pranking me, or why are they playing a trick on me? And nobody came out, and I went looking, there was nobody there. So till this day, I don't know how that rock formation appeared out of nowhere. And there was a lot of rocks within that circle. I know the natives used to make rock formations when the sick, and they will make rock formations also for the dead. These rock formations that they will make, they'll put the sick person within the rock formation, and they'll send the shaman. I doing cousin Jesse. They were saying the shaman and the shaman would be in the hair, and believe it or not, the gear that the shaman had was the same kind of gear that a shapeshifter has, where they have a fur on their back and they have either a head of a bear, a head of a deer, a head of a wolf, which looks like a skinwalker shapeshifter, and they're going there with a stick, and they would do a ritual, and he would go in there to try to heal the person that was sick. The shaman would. And then the other time is when the person was going to cross over, when they were going to pass away, they would do the same ritual. They make a rock formation, and the shaman go within the circle with the same gear to try to help the person that was sick. And what people don't understand is the same circle formation. You know, when we talk about a circle formation, you think about portals and stuff like that. A rock formation, you think about portals, right? Well, that's a circle formations that the natives used to, not just the natives, but what do you call them? Within the Bible, the ones that used to live, they used to live in the cliffs, they used to live in the mountains, and they'd do the sacrifices up on top of the mountains. I cannot remember their names. In that nature, that's what they would do. The natives would also, when they were having wars, right, and people were dying, the natives will make a circle formation. Like, they didn't want to die out of the hands of the enemy, right? So there was a family of 6, 7, 8, 9, or 12, and there were so many, they were going to get murdered by other tribes, right? They would make the circle formation, you know, and there will hold hands. The head of the household would cut everybody's wrist, and then he would cut his wrist too. So they would die out of a blood sacrifice by holding hands, which will make a circle. And they say that of all the blood that was spilled, that when the sun rose in the morning, out of the center of the circle, the one would rise. That's what they would call him, the one. You could say he was either like a demonic being, a demigod, a demonic being of some sort, in which he had a lot of abilities because of the blood sacrifice. He could manifest itself into any form, dealing with Mother Nature itself. It could mimic voices and had supernatural abilities because of the blood sacrifice. And that's another way that they would do these things. When you think about, there's mass graves, right, that where people build homes over them, disrespecting the graves. Well, it's disrespecting that heritage or that culture in which they believed in things like that, in which I believe that's why there's so much activity, especially here in Central Texas. My first house, I had it in Heather Glen area, and there was all kinds of crazy stuff that would happen there when I lived there. Out of the backyard, you could hear somebody making Indian noises, and then you could hear like a hawk, then you could hear like a roar of a lion or a tiger or a cougar, and it was making like different noises, you know. And the only thing I could sense, it was something dark, so I would just do the sign of the cross and I would pray. Sometimes it would mimic voices of people that I knew coming from the back of those woods. So I did a little bit of investigation, and I found out there was an old cemetery from that land. The people that owned that property had an old barn, and there was a lot of graves there within within that property, in which I believe that's what the activity was there. But what was weird is we were seeing this native girl where her eyes were rolled back white, her mouth was open. It seemed like she had drowned, and that's how we would see her all the time. And I couldn't stay there no more because the activity was so bad. And this was in a different area in Killeen. I think it was in the Heather Glen area. The activity that was happening there is like there was a brand new homes when I had bought my home was brand new. I've seen it get built there, and a lot of strange activity like lights flickering all the time, ringing of the doorbells and nobody's in the front, banging on the doors, tapping on the windows. Then we started spotting, like I said, the native girl inside her home. You could hear like a baby crying out of the chimney. Then my neighbor was having a similar activity. He said that he seen the girl in his den. He made his garage into a den, like a little library for to do his work. And he seen the little girl sitting in the middle of his den, native girl, just sitting there. And he was smoking a cigarette real fast. And he told me, I said, "What's the matter, man?" And he told me what he seen. And I said, "I believe you because I've seen her too." So after that, I moved from that area. I sold my home and I moved from that area. But when you're spiritually blessed with the gifts of discernment, brothers and sisters, we get used to it. We get used to being like this. Whether people want to call us out of the ordinary, they want to call us crazy. We could do things that a regular person might not be able to do. And one of the things that I'm good at is I'm able to sense the energies that are around me. And if it's something negative, I'm able to get it out of a household or that attachment off of somebody. This is something that I've been able to do for a very long time, since I was a kid. So I just been doing this work for a long time. I'm making this video, like I was telling you before, about how we can wear a lot of things. We can have all kinds of protection around us, but at the bottom line of everything, it's about what's in the heart, what path we are on. Sometimes we've forgotten things that we've done, that we have to ask for forgiveness, or also forgive others that have come up against us in a negative way. Because trust me, these unseen forces that will use anything in their arsenal to come up against you, even to show you an image of something. They will do that just to see if they can find an opening. It's not just about of us attacking us while we're awake. They attack when we're asleep, try to come within our dreams to interrupt our dream, or to try to find a way to find an opening. So it's kind of like a constant spiritual battle. But that's life, right? We all have that ability, brothers, to sense spiritually. It's within us. I'm more than sure that there's a lot of you that have sensed things like this in the past. It's just sometimes you don't think about it too much because you're too busy living life, or too busy with the things that are in your life. Me, I've been there, I've done that, and I'm paying attention to what's around me, spiritually. I'm paying very close attention to all this because, like I said, we got to protect our foundation and let our spirits grow spiritually with that love foundation, so we're able to be blessed with a spiritual gift of discernment for what's around us. But one day, when it's the right time, I might go back into that area. I'm not sure yet, or I might go to a different area or a different location where I haven't been, just to see what happens. I might go to a whole completely different area just to see if this, if they're a spirit, if they're a spirit, they follow us around. And it's kind of like you got the north, the south, the east, the west, and they're around us just waiting to see if we mess up, especially me trying to awaken all my brothers and sisters. I'm putting myself out there in that manner because this is what the Lord has blessed me to do, and the message He wants me to tell y'all is to maintain your love foundation, not just within yourselves, but to your loved ones. Love, peace, tranquility, no hate, no fear. And if you have unforgiveness, you have to forgive to make the love foundation stronger. And that's the only way we're going to be able to overcome these negative energies that are around us, brothers and sisters, is through a love foundation. But anyways, if anybody has any questions, I still have other pictures that I hadn't even placed. I had to take a break from placing the pictures. I have some pictures that I haven't even placed on the site, but they appear for some reason, in that area. It's pretty hot and heavy. I don't know the past of that area, but what it seems like to me, that it used to be native land, and that's why I'm catching all that activity. The spirits sense my spirit, so they know that I can sense them, and they know that through law, spiritual law, brothers and sisters, they have to identify themselves to us because we're children of God. So by spiritual law, they have to identify themselves, and sometimes the spirits come that are trapped, whether they're fragmented souls or something to happen to them, they haven't been able to cross over. Sometimes they come also so I can assist them and help them cross over. So I pray for those spirits. So I'll light up a white candle and I pray for them. I try to help them get free from this realm, this earth realm, so they can cross over. And I believe that's why the spirits, or this disembodied beings / demons, that's what come at me in full force, because I'm out there. When I run through a spirit, I help the spirit that comes to me. Just like I was praying for this little girl that I've seen. She came to me in my dream, and I prayed for her. And the spirits that come, that need assistance, they're not here in the flesh no more because they're gone, but they want to be free. They want to rest in peace. So they come to me to help them spiritually cross over. And I've helped out many spirits in this manner to help cross over. And I know that the unseen forces, that most likely were the ones that made those bad things happen to them, or whatever happened to them. They don't like me interfering in that, but if the Heavenly Father is blessing me with His spiritual gifts to do this works, I'm going to continue to do this works. Last time I had gone there, when I told you that I felt a weight on my back, I seen an image of a girl. It was a young girl. She looked like a white American girl, probably like 8 or 9 years old. She was wearing some blue jeans, and she was wearing a jacket, and she was in the wool line. And that's what I dreamt. And she had little ponytails. So her spirit came to me. So I prayed for her to help her cross over. I prayed for her soul. And some people might think that things like that are impossible, but it happens. It's happened to me numerous times. Since I was a kid, I've been blessed with this. I'm doing Brother Carlito. I'm waiting for my son, Brother Carlito. Like I was telling him, I haven't gone back to the woods ever since last time I made the video. That for about a whole week, I felt like I had something on my shoulders, like I was carrying 2 apes, because whatever was on top of me was very heavy and it was weighing me down, that I had a lot of pain on my back. I felt like I was carrying somebody on my shoulders. When they say that they attach themselves to you, that's what they do. They'll try to attach themselves to you. And I had to put out the Palo Santo. I had to pray. So I guess that video, I did it like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember when I made that last video, and it's been a while, you know. So it took me like about a week and a half just to feel better, you know. But then, you know, it's going to use people to come up against you, you know. Not saying that the people that come up against you are evil, but it's going to use whatever it can use to come up against you, you know, to try to put a stop on the mission that you're trying to do. And my mission is trying to wake all my brothers and sisters, not just to be worried about a dogman or a Bigfoot, but for them to understand what else it might be that it might be deceiving them, right? Because it wants them to believe. Because once they believe, then they might attack physically and spiritually, but unseen. You know, I cannot disappear in thin air because I'm here in the flesh. Just like a lion, a bear, or any person cannot just disappear in thin air because we're here in the flesh. We're in this realm in the flesh, so we don't have the disappearing capabilities. But we are blessed by the Heavenly Father to get us out of situations, and if He has the ability to make us ghost-like temporarily to get us out of a situation where there might be some high impact or something threatful. You know, the Heavenly Father has those abilities to bless us in that manner. And at the same time, like I said, when I'm out there, you know, I know what I'm hearing. I know what I'm seeing. What I'm capturing in the video looks beastly creatures to me. They're demonic. And at times I hear them talking different tongues, a different language. Not like they talk in church. Like they said, they're talking in tongues and they're just blabbing. They're literally talking a different language. Like I was saying earlier, maybe one day somebody would like to go with me and they get to do an EVP while I'm there doing my video, so they can capture the sounds that are happening around when I'm out there. You know, what's weird is before I did this last video, there was a lot of sound, a lot of activity, where I was hearing that. Right now I'm sensing something around me right now. Just now, I just started sensing something around me, and I'm here in the open. He was making all kinds of noises, like a snout noise, and there were different snout noises all around me, within the wood lines, and there was a bunch of them making that noise, in which they were trying to surround me, right? And to me, it's like, I know what they're trying to do. They're communicating their form, but it's like they're trying to surround me to, you know, trying to trick me, because there was one that was coming in stealth mode, trying to sneak up from behind. So that's the one I believe I had captured a long time ago that was pretty big, standing behind me, you know. But that's what they do. They're very tricky. In which, when you see some of the reels that I do, what is it? Is it something in the flesh, or is it something that's disembodied in spirit that's able to manifest into, should I say, in between a physical form that looks real but is still in between, like from a different dimension? Or, you know, it has this kind of special abilities, cloak and dagger, but, you know, I would say it was more of a spirit. You know, like we've seen spirits before, where I've seen a spirit where I've seen an old man and he was wearing his clothes and he's wearing a hat and he's standing there by the mailbox looking at me, and then within 2-3 seconds he just disappears. You know, I believe this beings, that's what they do. They're in and out of our world, and they can manifest. But the bigger question is, why do they manifest into beastly form? Are they manifesting into beastly form? Or is that their true form? That's the question. Is that their true form? that beastly appearance is their true form of how they look. So I believe the natives used to call Sasquatch Bigfoot, and I believe they got other native names for him. They will say he was a demon. That's what they would consider him, as a demon. Just like the Dogman was a demon, and the Skinwalker was a student of the Bigfoot or the Dogman, in which they got magical powers because they made pacts or deals with these beings, and that's why they have the abilities that were shown to them, but they're here in spirit form. The Skinwalker shapeshifters, they're disembodied beings with those abilities also of what was taught to them spiritually. They exist, Brother Carlito. They're there. And if, of what I encounter, brothers and sisters, they're not there to be your friend. They're very territorial. As a matter of fact, they don't like other people with other beliefs. They don't like the Heavenly Father because they believe in a whole different thing. So they're very territorial. So like me, they disliked me because I would always go into prayer, call upon the Heavenly Father, and they would get upset because, and I still do, but they still show themselves, like they're not afraid. They're showing their, how's it saying, their warrior face, When I got shot off that cliff at Ridge Falls here in Central Texas by the lake, that was a tall, high inclined cliff, and I got shot from the back, and I came dumbly down. I have pictures in my old phone where I'm all bruised up and banged up. I was bruised up and banged for about 3 months. I don't know, but I believe there was a higher power looking over me that day because it was a lot of boulders and I bounced all over the place. I came tumbling down, and I didn't break an ankle, didn't mess up a knee, didn't hurt. I just had a lot of bruises all over my body. But I got shoved from the top by a force, by an unseen force. When I did a little bit of research of the natives in this area, that's what they would do. They wasn't into agriculture. They like eating flesh, right? Which they were in a form of cannibalism, because sometimes they would kill their enemy, which was other natives. But their number one resource was meat, and they specialized in that. What they would do, at one time they used to be Tatanka, right, or buffalo here in Central Texas, and what they would do, the buffaloes will get near a ridge or an edge or near a cliff, and they push them off the cliff. They run and push them off the cliff. So they will have a kill and they will eat. Well, when I got shoved from the back like that off the ridge, off the cliff or ridge, luckily it wasn't a straight fall down. It was actually a tumble down thing that I'm still here, and I thank God that it wasn't a straight drop down. But I haven't been back to that area ever since that day, because that's like a good walk into that area. But in that area is where I seen what you call forest people. I call them shadow people, because that's how they look. When I was out there in the past, I've seen them, in shadow form, which looks like a dark shadow during the day, and they're looking at you, and they move real fast because they're like in shadow form, disembodied form. But I've seen those. They're in Ridge Falls near Belton Lake. But I believe it's all dealing with the same thing, These supernatural beings that have these abilities. One time I seen at that time I didn't know nothing about Dogman. I knew about werewolf, but the Belton Lake, I was invited to a party, And they said, hey, let's go skinny dipping, right? They said, let's go skinny dipping. You know, a bunch of females wanted to go skinny dipping. Uh, yeah. Uh, I went, they said, let's go skinny dipping. And we were up in like a high hill where their house was in a cliff. And there were some stairs that went all the way down. It was steep to go to like a knot where there was, the lake was by a knot, right? So I walked all the way down there and I jumped in the water. I didn't take my clothes off. I was just swimming, you know, and it was nighttime. And I was waiting to see who was going to come, you know, skinny dipping or whatever. But nobody showed up, you know. So I was down there by myself, you know, didn't know what was going on. So as I was in the water, I heard something in the brush. I see something go into the water, and it was real long, and you could see the ripples in the water. And I said, it's either, it was on top of the water. So to me, it had to be a alligator. So I moved slowly out of the water and went back on top of land. So I started walking back up, and I was midway to get into the house that was up there on the cliff. Or, you know, when I turned around, it's when they passed right in front of me, man. They were massive. I'll say, there's a tree right here. Whatever passed in front of me was tall. I would say, like, to that branch right there, it was that tall. It was two of them that passed right in front of me. I mean, they were real tall, and they passed right in front of me, you know, because I could see them because I was nearing the home, so the light from their backyard was shining down, and they passed right beside me. They were massive. It was no deer. It was something running in twos. Whether it was a dog, man, or whatever it was, it's there, man. It's there in the Belton Lake. I think it's not just there, all through Central Texas, you know, because I've seen that kind of activity on Fort Hood also. And I'm always sure there's probably stories that soldiers don't say of what they've encountered out there. Like, I encountered something throwing rocks at me when I used to work for the S3, which is Center Operations. I worked for that for a year. They put me off the tanks to work for S3, which there's a PC and it's a TOC. And we set up the TOC on top of mountains or hills to get better frequency to communicate to the battalions, right? So that's what my job was. And I was a driver setting up the TOCs, and we had a generator, right? So I had to fill up the generator every 4 hours, I believe, or 6 hours, because they run out of fuel. So I had to keep it going so the TOC would stay operational. And I had the night shift. So there's one day it was raining outside, and it was running out of fuel, and it was at time because I had a timer on my thing. So I went out there to fill it up, and as I was out there filling it up, something started throwing rocks at me, you know. And I was looking, and the rocks were landing right beside me, you know, like, and they were pretty good sized rocks. And I thought it was my NCO, which was a Sergeant First Class E7. The name was Sergeant First Class Bowser. So I was like, hey, stop messing with me, Sarge. And freaking, it was pouring, you know, it was pouring, and rocks were being thrown at me. They were landing all around me, you know. So I went in there all pissed off, and I said, hey, and when I went in there, he was inside the tent, the TOC. He said, why are you messing with me, Sergeant? I said, what are you talking about? I've been here drinking my coffee, you know. It was just me and him for the night shift. Till this day, you know, I don't know who was throwing the rocks, but they were landing all around me. You know, then I hear the stories of how big was throw rocks. They throw pieces of wood. The rocks. I remember at my mobile home, something threw. I had a log as a decoration where I had flowers in the flower bed. They threw that log through my door, and it flew in through my door because it broke my door, right? So I was in the living room, so I go out there real fast, but there's nobody out there. The only thing that's there is a log that went through my door. It broke my door. It broke the lock from the door, you know, busted it open. But there was nobody there. I didn't find a single person or nothing. You know, it was during the day. So, like I said, they'll attack. Doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. You know, when people think, oh, well, let's go during the day. They say, let's go during the day. You know, we're safe during the day. No, the danger's still there. The danger's still there because, you know, there's energy source. The sun is a stronger energy source than the moon, right? But they come out during the day and night. You know, if it's something supernatural, disembodied beings that are out there, you've seen it, guys. I've been capturing them during the day, right? On my videos. Nighttime will be probably even harder to capture them, especially if they're disembodied beings. But I've been capturing during the day. At least it gives us a chance to see what we're dealing with. Imagine those beings that I'm pasting there on Facebook that look like cryptids, or like a werewolf with fangs, or like a giant dog man, or werewolf, or a Bigfoot. I lost my breath. Trying to catch my breath. Imagine that. It made me lose my train of thought of what I was talking about. But yeah, they're out there during the day and at nighttime. You're able to see them at nighttime also, especially you have like a light, like at the park where I used to live. We had a light, so I was able to see them because of the lights that were set up within the park. I could be at my home and I'll see the shadows. You know, people want to call them shadow people or forest people. Well, you see their shadows running around in the park. So as they're running around the park, there'll be like 12, 14, 16 of them, pretty tall, taller than me. I'll start going towards a direction. You can see the shadows run back into the woods. I go to the wood line. I want to go inside the wood. I go to the side, say, hey, y'all need to come out of the woods, because I was thinking it was teenagers. But then nobody would answer. You could just hear crickets. So I'll go back to the house, and next thing you know, there they are. They come back out of the woods again, and they're running around in the park. I mean, I have, you know, Curly, I've had that open invitation for people to be able to witness it. The only reason I know that there is because where I lived, I had the view of the park. At one time, there was mobile homes that were in the way that I couldn't have that kind of view, but there's a flood that came through that destroyed a lot of mobile homes, and they moved those mobile homes out of the way, in which I had the full view of the park. So that's when I really started witnessing that there was something not right, where I was seeing this. It was like around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, seeing like 12 to 14 shadow figures moving around in the park, and they're running around, you know, and they're not trying to hide themselves. They're in plain view, you know. So that's when I started noticing that something wasn't right. And like I said, they were pretty tall. I remember that time that there was one time that the police, there was like 6 squad cars were in the area, because a lady said that they had a peeping Tom peeking through the restroom window, right? But the weird thing about it was that the restroom window that they said that he was peeking from was like 16 foot tall, because it was one of those windows that's up on the very top of the mobile home, because it didn't have a side window. It was one of the top windows. They said something was peeking from the very top looking at them, right? So they called the cops, and they said that we're pursuing somebody. So everybody, all the neighbors start coming out and checking it out. And you see the cop cars roaming around real fast through the mobile home park, and they had the high beams pointing at something. And the only thing you could see was a shadow within the light. It was not a form of a person, only a dark shadow. You could see the light going around the shadow, because you couldn't see a person. You could only see a shadow, and they're all looking at this
thing that's very tall, and they're shining the high beams, officers from the police vehicles. And I'm looking at it, hey, that's not a person. What the hell is that? So then there was one squad car camped out at the entrance of the park, and that dark shadow being passed right in front of them. Literally passed right in front of the squad car, and they had their headlights on. It passed right in front of them, and I heard them over talking, and they were saying, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" And they're like, "We're going to keep it to ourselves because if we tell this to the chief, he's going to think we're crazy." But that's the thing. What they seen, that's what I was dealing with there in Elms Grove. What they seen is what I was dealing with when I lived in Elms Grove. I'm just glad that I moved out of there, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, Brother Armando, God rest his soul, he can vouch for my story because he's seen someone. He didn't even know who I was, just like I didn't know who he was. But what he seen was basically something that looked like me, and I was calling him by his name into the creek, right? But I didn't know Armando. So following day, he was doing a night investigation in that area. This is before I did the show with Vic Cundiff. He went to my house the following day, Sunday morning, and he says, "Is your name Abe?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "My name is Armando. I'm the night guy." And he said, "I just got one question for you. How can you be in two places at once?" He's like, I asked him, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, I come by your house. I'll send you inside your home. I'll go park over here by this area where they told me that it was hot. I go to the area and I see you there. So I get in the vehicle because you're calling me by my name and you don't even know who I am. So I'll go back to your house and you're still in your house." But anyways, brothers and sisters, my son's ready to go home. Thank you all for tuning in to Abe's Late Night Talk. I think I like doing these late night talks, man. Maybe I'll do some more, or like I said, I don't know when I'm gonna go back out there again. But whenever the time is, I'm gonna go to a different area. I'm not sure yet. But thank you all for tuning in. God bless every single one of y'all, and peace out.